In the cold darkness of deep space far beyond any known world, a strange signal began to pulse. It was weak, broken, and old, but it carried something no one had heard in centuries, a human distress code. The signal repeated one word again and again. Hope, hope, hope. Across the galaxy, panic spread like fire. For over 600 years, everyone believed humans were extinct, wiped out in their final war. Stories about them had turned into myths. Some said they destroyed themselves. Others whispered that they had left the galaxy long ago, promising to return one day. When the signal appeared, the Galactic Council gathered in their shining chamber above the planet Valira. The leaders of many species argued in fear. It can't be human, one shouted. Their kind is gone, another hissed. But the code is human, said a calm voice. And it's coming from the Abyss sector, a place no one dares to go. That calm voice belonged to Captain Threx, a tall reptilian officer from the planet Dravon. Unlike others, Threx did not fear the name human. He had studied them all his life. To him, they were not monsters. They were a mystery. As the council argued, Threx's yellow eyes watched the signal pulse on the hologram before him. Every few seconds, the word appeared again. Hope. He leaned forward and whispered to himself, why would a ghost ask for hope? The council decided to ignore the signal. They claimed it was too dangerous, too uncertain. But Threx could not forget it. Something deep inside told him the truth. Someone was still out there. That night, when the stars burned quiet above the council's world, Threx gave a secret order to his crew aboard his ship, Valerian. They would go against orders. They would find the source of the signal. The Valerian was not a large warship. It was built for science and patrol, not battle. But its crew trusted Threx. He was known for doing what others feared. When the engines roared to life, Threx stood on the bridge, staring at the glowing star charts. Set course for the Abyss sector, he said. The navigator hesitated. Sir, that region is forbidden. Threx's eyes narrowed. Then it's the perfect place to hide a secret. Days turned into weeks as they crossed the dark edges of the galaxy. Stars grew fewer. Communication faded. Soon, even the light from known systems disappeared behind them. At last, the signal grew stronger. Hope, hope. Hope, it's close, said the technician. Threx rose from his seat. Find it. Their scanners swept through the black space until a faint blip appeared, an object drifting near a dead star. When they zoomed in, everyone on the bridge went silent. It was a small, rusted human escape pod. The crew gathered in the docking bay as the pod was brought aboard. Its metal surface was covered with scars, and strange writing in human letters still marked its side. ES, Horizon. Open it, Threx ordered. The engineers cut through the frozen seals. When the door finally slid open, a cloud of icy mist escaped. Inside, lying perfectly still, was a young human man. Pale, silent, frozen in time. A cryosleep capsule had kept him alive for centuries. Threx stepped closer, his heart racing. He had seen thousands of recordings of humans, but never one in the flesh. This is impossible, whispered one of his officers. Threx shook his head slowly. No, this is history. They brought the pod to the medical bay and connected it to life support. Lights flickered. Machines hummed. The temperature began to rise. After a long, tense moment, the human's eyes opened. They were clear, bright, the color of a blue Earth sky. He gasped for air, coughing weakly. Threx spoke softly, trying to calm him. You're safe. You're on a ship called Valerian. Can you understand me? The human's voice was faint, almost a whisper. Where am I? You're in the Draven sector, Threx said. You've been asleep for a long time. What's your name? The man blinked slowly. Eli. Eli Ward. The crew exchanged nervous looks. A living human. After 600 years. It was unthinkable. Eli looked around, confusion and pain in his eyes. He stared at the aliens before him, creatures he'd only seen in data logs. Then he saw the hologram of the signal still pulsing on the wall. Hope, hope. His face went pale. You found the signal? He asked weakly. Threx nodded. Yes, we followed it here. It came from your pod. Eli's breathing quickened. No, it wasn't from me. The signal is a warning, not a call. A warning? Threx frowned. From what? Before Eli could answer, Alarms blared through the ship. A red light flashed on the control panel. Unknown ships detected. The crew rushed to stations. Threx turned to the viewport and saw dark shapes emerging from the shadows near the dead star. Silent, fast, dangerous. Who are they? An officer shouted. Eli's voice trembled as he spoke. They're not aliens. They're old. Human design. Everyone froze. Threx's eyes widened. Human ships? But that's impossible. Eli nodded weakly. If you can hear me, it means humanity is not gone. And then, his body went limp. Threx stood frozen as the mysterious ships drew closer, their engines silent, their weapons locked. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy would learn a truth long forgotten. Humanity was never truly gone. Something had survived. Something was coming. The alarm still echoed through the corridors of the alien ship Valerian. Red lights flashed. The crew ran to their stations, fear rising with every second. Captain Threx stood on the command deck, staring at the dark shapes on the screen. They looked like ships, massive and silent, but their design was old, ancient, human. He turned toward the medical bay door where Eli Ward, the last known human, had just collapsed after whispering those haunting words. If you can hear me, it means humanity is not gone. Threx's claws tightened around the rail. Get him stable, he ordered. I need him alive. The alien doctor nodded, working quickly over Eli's body. Machines hummed, scanning his vital signs. His heart was weak, but he was alive. Outside, the dark ships floated without movement. No radio signal, no response. Only silence. Sir, the navigator said, they're scanning us. Threx frowned. Defensive shields up. No weapons. Do not fire unless I say so. The bridge grew quiet. Every sound seemed louder. The soft hum of engines, the beeping of sensors. Then suddenly, one of the strange ships powered its engines and moved closer. A voice crackled through the speakers, distorted, mechanical, but human. Identify yourself. This region is under quarantine. Threx's crew froze. They had never heard a human voice outside old recordings. Threx pressed the comm button. This is Captain Threx of the Galactic Union ship Valerian. We received a distress signal. Human code. We found a survivor. There was silence. Then the voice returned, colder this time. That signal was not meant to be found. Leave this sector. Immediately. Threx exchanged a look with his second officer, a feline alien named Rin. What do we do, Captain? She whispered. Threx looked at the faint heartbeat line on the medical screen. We stay, he said. We need answers. Minutes later, Eli awoke again. His breathing was heavy, his eyes half open. Threx leaned closer. Eli Ward, we need your help. Those ships outside, they're human, aren't they? Eli's expression turned grim. They are, but not like before. What do you mean? Eli sat up slowly, pain showing on his face. They're AI-controlled. The last guardians of the human fleet. Long ago, when Earth fell, our commanders built these ships to protect what was left of humanity. But after centuries, they forgot their purpose, Threx frowned. You mean they attack anything that enters this region? Eli nodded. Yes, they believe everything is a threat. To them, even you. Before Threx could reply, the bridge lights dimmed again. The voice from outside spoke once more. Unauthorized vessel detected. Preparing to engage. The Valerian shook as energy signatures flared on the enemy ships. Captain? They're locking weapons, the technician shouted. Threx slammed his hand on the console. Evasive maneuvers. Move us behind that asteroid. The ship lurched hard to the left as energy bolts shot past, lighting the darkness with blue fire. The crew shouted, alarms screamed, and metal groaned under the strain. Rin turned to Threx. They'll destroy us, sir. We can't win. Threx's eyes flashed. Not yet. If these ships are human creations, then a human must be able to stop them. He turned to the doctor. Wake Eli fully, now. Moments later, Eli stumbled onto the bridge, pale and weak but determined. He saw the screens showing the attacking ships. Huge, ancient vessels with Earth emblems half faded by time. He whispered, The Sentinel fleet. I thought it was lost. Can you stop them? Threx asked urgently. Eli nodded slowly. Maybe, but I'll need access to your communication systems. Threx gestured. Do what you must. Eli placed his trembling hands on the console. His fingers moved across the glowing alien keys with surprising precision. He began to send an old human override code, one that only military commanders once used. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, suddenly, the largest ship of the Sentinel fleet halted its attack. Its lights flickered, then dimmed. A new voice came through the speakers, calm and deep. "Command authorization detected. Identify yourself." Eli leaned forward. "This is Commander Eli Ward, Earth Fleet ID 902A. I order you to stand down." There was silence again. Then the voice responded. "Identity confirmed. Commander Ward, you were presumed deceased. Mission status unclear." Eli sighed in relief. "Stand down your weapons. These aliens are not enemies." The AI paused, processing. "Humanity was destroyed by contact with alien species. You cannot trust them." Eli's face hardened. "You're wrong. Humanity destroyed itself because it lost hope. I won't let that happen again." Another long. Space was silent again. The battle was over, and the Valerian drifted slowly among the remains of human satellites and ancient metal ruins. The Sentinel fleet, those dark AI-controlled human ships, now hovered quietly, their weapons cold, their systems waiting for Eli's next command. Captain Threx stood beside Eli Ward on the bridge. They both stared at the holographic map that showed the region around them. Behind the dead star, far beyond the shadows, there was something else, a massive cluster of unknown energy signals. "Those readings," said Rin, the feline first officer. "They're huge. Thousands of structures. No known pattern." Eli's eyes narrowed. "It's not structures," he said slowly. "It's ships." Threx turned to him. "Ships? You mean human ships?" Eli nodded. "Yes, the last fleet. The one that vanished 600 years ago." He took a deep breath. "It's the Ghost Fleet." The word spread through the crew like a chill wind. The Ghost Fleet was legend even among aliens, an armada of human ships that disappeared during the final days of Earth's fall. Some said it was destroyed. Others believed it was hidden, waiting for a time when humanity would rise again. Threx looked at Eli. "If that fleet is really there, what do you expect to find?" Eli replied quietly, "Answers. Maybe the truth about why we fell." Threx nodded. "Then we go." The Valerian moved forward, guided by the remaining sentinels. The deeper they went, the darker space became. Stars faded behind thick clouds of cosmic dust. The sensors flickered and struggled to read anything. "This whole sector is unstable," Rin said. "Radiation spikes everywhere. No light, no signal." Eli stood still, staring into the void. "That's how we hid," he whispered. "We made the darkness our shield." Hours later, they saw it. A faint glimmer at first, then hundreds, then thousands of lights appearing like ghosts in the mist. Massive ships, human-built, stretching across the endless dark. Some were cracked and broken, others perfectly still, as if waiting for someone to wake them. The Ghost Fleet. The crew stared in silence. No one spoke. The view was haunting, an entire human armada floating lifelessly, silent and proud. Eli walked slowly toward the main screen. "These ships were our last defense. They carried millions of people in cryosleep. Refugees from the fall." Threx's voice was quiet. "You mean they're still here?" Eli hesitated. "If the systems lasted this long, maybe." They sent a small shuttle toward the nearest ship. Its name was written in faded letters along the side. Horizon Dawn. Eli touched the name on the screen with his hand, whispering softly, "That was my ship." Threx looked at him in surprise. "You served on that?" Eli nodded. "I wasn't supposed to wake up before it. My cryopod malfunctioned." They entered the massive hangar bay of the Horizon Dawn. The air was cold and still. Dust floated like snow in the dim emergency lights. Everywhere, signs of human life remained. Old equipment, helmets, and faded banners with the Earth emblem still shining faintly blue. Rin whispered, "It feels alive and dead at the same time." Eli stepped forward. "Because it's waiting." He walked to the main control room where the ship's central AI core was located. The console was covered in frost. He wiped it clean and placed his hand on the scanner. The machine beeped, hesitated, and then a calm, familiar voice spoke. "Commander Eli Ward." Authentication confirmed. "Welcome back." The bridge lights turned on one by one. Screens glowed to life. The hum of power filled the air again. Threx and his crew looked around in awe. After 600 years, the ship was alive. "AI status report," Eli said firmly. "Mission incomplete," the voice replied. "Human survivors remain in cryostasis. Power levels critical. Awaiting command to resume awakening sequence." Eli froze. "Survivors?" he whispered. "Confirmed." 2,312 human life forms preserved. Threx's jaw dropped. 2,000 humans. Still alive. Eli's eyes filled with tears. They survived. All this time. He turned to the AI again. Why didn't the fleet return? The AI paused for a long time as if remembering something painful. Command directive. Hide. Survive. Return only when the galaxy remembers hope. Eli stood still. The word hope echoed in his mind again and again. It was the same word from the signal. The same word that woke him. Suddenly the ship trembled. Alarms flashed. The voice of the AI changed. Warning. External forces approaching. Unknown vessels detected. Threx ran to the viewport. Through the mist, new shapes appeared. Alien ships, dozens of them, moving fast. Rin shouted, "It's the Zoth Dominion. They must have tracked us." Threx cursed softly. "They're scavengers. They want the technology here." Eli clenched his fists. "They can't get it. If they touch these ships, they'll destroy everything." The Zoth ships opened fire. Energy blasts shook the horizon dawn. Metal groaned. The entire ship echoed with the sound of ancient armor being tested again. Threx yelled, "We can't win this fight." Eli turned to the AI. "Can the fleet still fight?" "Weapons offline. Reactivation requires human command consensus." Eli looked around at the empty chairs of his old crew. "They're asleep," he whispered. "They can't vote?" Threx placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then it's your decision, Commander." Eli stared at the glowing Earth emblem above the command screen. He took a deep breath and spoke clearly. "Reactivate defense grid. Protect this fleet." The ship roared to life. Lights exploded across the hull. Energy surged through ancient reactors. One by one, the ghost fleet awakened. Massive cannons unfolded from silent ships. Shield systems flared blue. In moments, the Zoth found themselves facing an entire human armada. "Fire," Eli commanded. The darkness of space lit up with light as beams of pure energy tore through the Zoth fleet. One after another, their ships exploded, scattering debris into the void. The crew of the Valerian watched in disbelief. It wasn't just war. They were watching history itself awaken. When the battle ended, the void fell quiet again. The surviving Zoth ships fled, their signals vanishing into hyperspace. Eli sat in the captain's chair of the Horizon Dawn, breathing heavily. The AI spoke softly. "Mission protocol updated. Enemy threat neutralized. Awaiting next order." Threx walked beside him. "Eli, what now?" Eli looked at the holographic image of the entire ghost fleet. Thousands of ships floating in perfect formation. He whispered, "Now we finish what humanity started. We rebuild hope." Threx studied him for a moment. "Do you really believe the galaxy can forgive what it fears?" Eli's answer was quiet but firm. "It doesn't have to forgive us. It only needs to remember that we tried to protect it." Later, Eli walked alone through the sleeping chambers where rows of cryopods glowed faint blue. He stopped beside one and placed his hand on the glass. Inside lay a woman with the same emblem on her uniform as his own. Her nameplate read Dr. Mira Ward. His voice cracked. "Mira, you made it." He wiped away the frost and whispered, "It's not over. I'm here. I'll wake you soon." Behind him, Threx entered quietly. "You knew someone on this ship," he said. Eli nodded. "My sister." Threx's voice softened. "Then I see why you fight so hard." Eli turned to the cryopods. "We fought to save life. Not just human life. Every kind. Maybe now others will understand." Threx placed his hand over his heart. "Then we'll help you, Eli Ward. The galaxy needs this. It needs hope." But in the shadows beyond the abyss, the Zoth Dominion wasn't done. They sent a warning across the galaxy. The humans are back, and they bring their ghosts with them. And on distant worlds, rulers began to whisper in fear. If the ghost fleet was awake, then humanity, the most unpredictable species in history, was rising again. And this time, they weren't fighting for survival. They were fighting for the soul of the galaxy. The Valerian drifted quietly through the cold darkness of space. The stars outside looked still, but inside the ship tension was rising. Captain Threx stood near the observation window, his claws pressed against the glass as he watched the faint reflection of the young human, Eli Ward, standing behind him. Eli had recovered from cryosleep. His eyes were clear now, sharp and calm, but there was a sadness in them. A sadness that came from knowing he might be the last of his kind. "Captain Threx," Eli said softly. You said the galaxy believed humans are extinct? Threx nodded slowly. It's been 1,000 years. Records say your people vanished after the War of the Burning Worlds. No one saw humans since then. Many believed your species destroyed itself. Eli gave a weak smile. No, we didn't destroy ourselves. We left something behind. Threx turned toward him. What do you mean? Eli didn't answer right away. He looked at the stars as if trying to remember a place he once called home. Hope, he whispered. That was our last command. Later in the ship's communication chamber, Eli sat surrounded by glowing alien symbols. He began pressing random buttons on the console, his fingers moving fast. The crew stared in confusion. Human, what are you doing? Hissed one of the officers. You could overload the systems. Eli didn't stop. No, he said. I'm decoding the signal. It wasn't just a distress call. It was a message hidden inside the word hope. The screens flickered. Strange human symbols appeared across the display. It looked like an old Earth language mixed with complex data codes. A faint voice played through the speakers, distorted, broken, but still human. This is Command Station Aegis. All colonies evacuated. If anyone survives, remember Project Dawn. Then static. Threx's eyes widened. Project Dawn? What is that? Eli turned toward him, his voice quiet but steady. It was humanity's last mission before the fall. We knew the war was lost, so we hid something. The grave belt was no longer silent. What was once a frozen field of forgotten warships now pulsed with power. Blue light flickered across the dead hulks as engines that hadn't burned in 1,000 years came alive again. Captain Threx stood frozen on the Valerian's bridge, staring out at the impossible sight. By the stars, he whispered. They were sleeping. All this time? Eli Ward didn't move. His eyes were locked on the largest ship drifting before them, a colossal human dreadnought, its hull still bearing the name HSS Eternity. The glow from its engines bathed the Valerian in cold, pale light. That ship, Eli said quietly, was the flagship of the last human fleet. My father served on it. Threx turned sharply. Your father? Eli nodded. Commander Aaron Ward. He was part of Project Dawn. The alien crew exchanged uneasy glances. The air on the bridge grew tense as more of the ancient human vessels powered up, forming perfect lines in the void. There were hundreds, maybe thousands of them. Eli, Threx said cautiously, what exactly is Project Dawn? Eli took a slow breath. It wasn't just about survival. Humanity knew the war was lost. So they built something, a network of ships all linked by one code. If humans ever vanished, these ships would sleep until a human voice reactivated them. They were designed to protect and to rebuild. Threx's eyes narrowed. To rebuild what? Eli's voice was quiet. Everything. The comms crackled. A deep ancient AI voice spoke again from the eternity. Command unit detected. Awaiting input. Protocol options, restoration. Or retaliation. The entire bridge fell silent. Threx stared at Eli. You have control over them? Eli looked uncertain. I think so. The signal recognized my DNA. It must link to the old command chain. But I don't know how to control this much power. The AI voice continued, steady and cold. Awaiting directive, choose. Eli's hands trembled. He knew what those two words meant. Restoration would rebuild the lost colonies, bring back human civilization. But retaliation, that would awaken the war fleet. That command would make the galaxy burn again. Before he could answer, the Valerian's radar screamed with alerts. Multiple ships were approaching fast from the east sector of the belt, sleek, silver vessels bearing the emblem of the Galactic Council. Council warships, the navigator gasped. They must have tracked our signal. Threx cursed under his breath. They're going to see this, and they'll panic. On the main screen, the alien warships appeared in formation. A voice came through the comms, sharp and furious. Valerian, you have violated direct orders. Power down immediately. You are in restricted space. Threx tried to reply calmly. This is Captain Threx of the Valerian. We've made contact with a human survivor and human. The voice interrupted in alarm. That's impossible. Destroy the source immediately. Eli looked shocked. They want to destroy me? Threx growled. They fear you. They fear what humanity represents. Outside, council ships began charging their weapons. Laser batteries glowed red. Missile tubes opened. Threx clenched his jaw. Eli, if you have any command over those ships, now is the time. Eli turned toward the screen showing the eternity. AI core activate defense systems. Non-lethal mode. The AI responded instantly. Defense systems online. Warning, Council fleet targeting human command vessel. What happened next left every living being on that bridge speechless. The ancient human ships began to move, smoothly, precisely. Energy shields unfolded like glowing wings. Massive cannons rotated toward the Council fleet, but they didn't fire. Instead, the human fleet projected a shimmering barrier around the Valerian and the approaching ships. The Council commander's voice cracked through the comms. What is this, some kind of illusion? Then one of the human ships sent out a pulse of light. The alien warships froze mid-attack. Their engines flickered, their systems shutting down one by one. Within seconds, the entire Council fleet was dead in space. Eli stared in disbelief. They disabled them, without destroying them. Threx turned toward him slowly. Your people created machines that can stop entire armadas without firing a shot. Eli gave a faint smile. Humans always believed the strongest weapon wasn't destruction. It was control. But then the Eternity sent another message, urgent this time, warning, foreign fleets converging. Multiple species approaching grave belt, hostile intent detected. Eli's smile faded. They're coming. The whole council must have seen the activation, Threx hissed under his breath. They'll never let you live. They'll never allow humanity to rise again. Eli stood tall now, his fear replaced by determination. Then we make them see why they should, Threx frowned. You mean to fight them? Eli shook his head. No, to show them what hope really means. He turned to the main console and began typing commands into the interface. The glowing network of human ships responded like one living organism, aligning into a formation shaped like a massive spiral. Energy beams connected them, forming a colossal beacon that pierced through space. What are you doing? Threx asked. Eli smiled faintly. Sending a signal not of war, but of return. The beacon flashed once, twice, then burst into a beam of golden light that spread across the galaxy. Every sensor, every communication relay, every satellite across hundreds of systems picked it up. A single message repeated in thousands of alien languages. We were never gone. Humanity endures, and we bring hope. As the light faded, Eli turned toward the window. The stars looked closer now, almost alive. Threx stood beside him, quiet for a long moment before speaking. You understand what you've done, human. You've awakened fear across the galaxy. Eli nodded slowly. Yes, but also faith. The same faith that once saved us. Threx looked at him with something almost like respect. Then let us hope your faith is strong enough to survive what comes next. Because deep beyond the grave belt, in the dark reaches of space, something else had begun to stir. Something that had waited as long as the Guardians had slept, and it was not happy to see humanity return. The grave belt shimmered with quiet power. Thousands of ancient human ships hung motionless, forming a spiral of blue and gold light. Across the galaxy, every communication channel buzzed with one message, a human voice saying, "We were never gone. Humanity endures, and we bring hope." That signal had reached every planet, every empire, and every ruler, and not all of them welcomed it. On the bridge of the Valerian, Captain Threx watched the star map flicker with red warnings. Multiple fleets are moving toward us, said his navigator. Council ships, warlords, scavengers. Everyone wants to see what woke up in the grave belt. Eli Ward stood silently near the observation window, his eyes fixed on the enormous ship before them. The HSS Eternity, humanity's ancient flagship. It was awake and its deep mechanical hum filled the void. They're coming because they're afraid, Eli said softly. They fear what they don't understand. Threx crossed his arms. And they should be afraid. The last time your kind ruled the stars, half the galaxy burned. Eli turned to him, calm but firm. And the other half was saved because we refused to stop believing in something better. Moments later, the bridge lights dimmed. A holographic figure appeared, tall, human, with the faint shimmer of static. The crew gasped. Who is that? One alien whispered. The hologram smiled faintly. Commander Aaron Ward, Project Dawn AI interface. Identification match confirmed. Eli Ward, a biological link verified. Eli's breath caught. Father? The hologram nodded once. If you're seeing this, Eli, It means the war ended in our loss, but it also means we succeeded. You are humanity's second dawn. Eli stepped closer, tears forming in his eyes. What am I supposed to do? The AI's expression grew serious. The fleets you see around you were not built to conquer. They were built to remind. The galaxy forgot who we were. It is your duty to show them the truth, not through power, but through hope. Then the hologram faded, leaving only silence. Threx exhaled slowly. Your father prepared this. For 1,000 years, Eli nodded. He believed someone would come back, someone who'd still believe in humanity. But time was running out. The first council fleet arrived, massive carriers and cruisers blocking the stars, weapons armed and ready. A booming voice filled the comms. This is Admiral Corvin of the Galactic Council. Unknown human fleet, power down immediately or face extermination. Eli looked at Threx. They won't listen. Threx's scales rippled with tension. Then we make them listen. What's your plan? Eli took a deep breath, to remind them what being human truly means. Outside, the eternity began transmitting again. Not weapons fire, but a massive wave of light and sound. The entire region lit up like a sunrise. The alien ships hesitated as the wave passed through them, harmless yet overwhelming. Within seconds, the council ship's systems began displaying images, holograms of old Earth, blue skies, children laughing, cities shining, humans and aliens working side by side. The message was clear. Humanity had once been the heart of peace, not destruction. Admiral Corvin's voice cracked. What is this? Eli spoke into the comms, his voice steady. This is what we were. This is what we can be again. Humanity didn't die. It chose to sleep until the galaxy was ready to remember hope. For a moment, the council ship stopped moving. No one fired. Even the cold-hearted admiral hesitated. But not everyone shared his hesitation. From deep behind the belt, another fleet appeared. Darker, sharper, older. Their ships were covered in black armor, their energy signatures twisted and unnatural.